Hi everyone, it's Parul here, your usual host, life and leadership coach, focusing on confidence, hoping that our content will give you the boost to go to the next level. Now, I have got a very inspiring, powerful woman as my guest today to share some tips which will help you to go to the next level. She's no other than Riona Kelly. Now, Riona got many hats. Riona is a model, a singer, a teacher, a life coach, a corporate trainer, but most importantly, Riona is an inspirational international speaker. With Riona speaking, Riona helped many people to move forward with their life. So, welcome to my platform, Riona, and thank you very much for your time today to share your story. So I briefly introduce you. I know there's more on your bio, but I've just given bullet points. Can you tell us a bit about you? You obviously suffered a big stroke, spinal stroke in 2015, and you recovered. And now you're doing more and more. You become more stronger. Can you tell us a bit about your story, please?
So firstly, thank you so much for inviting me to come onto your platform and speak to your audience. And hopefully I will leave that little bit of mustard seed inspiration into their lives that will help them to focus on any endeavor that they're going through in life, will help raise them and lift them up and support them in ways that they never knew possible. It is such a blessing and an honor to be able to help my global sisters worldwide to shine, to be the best they can be, to give them strength and hope that no matter what season they face, no matter what they go through in life, that together as women, we are stronger. And together as women globally, we can empower each other to shine brighter than we ever thought possible. What an honor it is to share my story, to be able to share my feats of my overcoming and what I've been through and the tools that I've learned along the way to help me, that I can then transpire to helping other women and men globally around the world. It is such an honor and a blessing. Thank you again so much for your invitation.
Thank you, Yana. Obviously, you touched on a number of things, but I'm going to ask one question is specifically, your desire to help others, and you became an international speaker. What I know you mentioned you want to help others. Can you go a bit more details on why you decided to become an speaker?
Well, as a child, I love talking. And as people will get to know me over time, I love talking. So I chose to go into a profession of teaching where you just get to talk all day. And then I realized, OMG, the power that we hold in our tongue, the power that we hold in our mouth to transform life or death, to speak life or to speak death. And I thought, I have an ability to take something and turn it into something greater by infusing life into it. What if I took that ability of what I've been through, because I used that for myself, all those affirmations for myself in every storm I've been through, to speak life into myself, to speak life into the storm, to speak life into the journey, to speak life into the pain, to speak life into the suffering. What if I took all of that and took it globally and showed other people that it doesn't matter what you're going through? Don't panic, because you have the ability to speak life no matter what you're going through. And that's why I decided to take what I've gone through and every season of every life that I've faced so far in the 42 years that I have been blessed to be on this earth, to take that and to show people how I breathed life into every facet of everything that I've ever been through. And when you're going through a storm, when you learn that your word can change the direction of what that storm is going, you can calm the seas when they're raging. You can stop the rain when it's pouring on you. You can tame the thunder so it doesn't affect you just by the power of your word. That's why I decided to go globally. I have a gift, and I thought, when God gives you gifts, you're not supposed to keep it for yourself. You're supposed to share it with other people and give them what they need to move forward in their lives.
Thank you, Riona. Really interesting. You talked about storm, how you can change the. Now, obviously, you were paralyzed in 2015 when you had the spinal stroke. What motivated you to move forward, and how did you move forward from that situation?
Let me tell you what, that is one of the most difficult storms that I've had to endure, that I've gone into. And I definitely felt like an abandoned boat in the middle of raging waters. That I might as well have been in the Bermuda Triangle. There was no way back, most people would have thought.
Yeah.
I was in a very toxic marriage that was in a very abusive relationship. So that abuse transpired whilst I'm lying in a hospital bed fighting for myself. People were coming and going, people that you thought should stay and should step up, they couldn't. They found it difficult. And it's not for me to judge why they did what they did and why they left or why they said the things that they said, because he who is without sin cast the first stone, and I'm not without sin. So it's not for me to judge anyone. But at that time, I wanted to die. I'll wholeheartedly admit, being paralyzed from my neck down, not being able to do anything for myself, being 34, lied in a bed. I had a great career. I had a family. I was active. But the problem is I was dead inside a marriage that I was trying to fight for that wasn't worth the fight. And so many women are in that position. And I love to be able to help women clearly see a way out of any position they're in that is right for themselves. If it's right to stay and fight, fight. But if it's not, then show them how to gracefully leave with the least impact to themselves and their children. But when I was lying in the hospital bed and I wanted to die, I wanted to quit. I couldn't see a way forward. It was my son. He's 16 now, absolutely drop dead gorgeous. I mean, I'd say that. I'm biased. I'm his mother. But he was 8 at the time. And my kids got told their mother was going to die. They were so scared. I'm the only constant in their life. When a mother gets it right, and she truly gets it right, she is everything to those children. She is the rock foothold of their life, and everything else can collapse around them, just not mummy. So I remember my son coming up to my bedside, and I was in a very bad way emotionally and trying to keep it in. But with children, it doesn't matter if a mother is silent, if a mother says nothing. A child will know if a mother's not right by her body language, by the way she presents herself, by the tone in her voice, by the look in her eyes. Why? Because as a baby, they spent so much time staring into those eyes, reading her body language, watching her tone. They know her better than anyone else on the planet. Why? Because they have spent the most intimate times with her. She has been completely open. If she's broken, she'll break in front of them. And as a baby, we don't think that they understand. They understand a lot more, and it's how they get to know us. So when my son came around to my side of the bed and he said, "Mummy, I don't care if you spend the rest of your life lying in that bed. Just, Mummy, please don't die. Mummy, please don't leave me." And I realized at that moment that my pain was insignificant compared to his pain. Absolutely. He was a year-old child who was so scared that he would lose his mother. He'd lost everyone else. All the family had left. My mum, my dad, my cousins, my brother, my aunties, everyone had left. Their dad had left. And then the only person that he actually wanted to stay around, he was so scared she was going to die. And that was the butt kicking I needed to say, stop feeling sorry for yourself. I had all right, bearing in mind, to feel sorry for myself. Anyone who's had a spinal cord injury or gone through a major life trauma, you have perfect right to feel sorry for yourself. Just don't make that your permanent residence, because when you do, the effect that it has, that ripple effect that goes out to so many people, is so powerful. I decided to stop the ripple. I decided the next day, I said, "Get me out of this bed." I'm screaming from the rooftops, and the doctors are like, "What is wrong with her? She's been screaming for 24 hours. Get out of this bed. Get me out of this bed." I'd been laying down for nearly 2 weeks. I hadn't even sat up at this point, and I was adamant I was coming out of this bed. And it was my consultant who said, "Look, I think we need to move her from the room she's in," which was right next to the nurse's station because it was critical care, and where I was to say, look, regardless if she's going to crash again, if something's going to go wrong, I think she needs to be integrated with other people, because this is her mental health is this is driving her mad. And rehabilitation, your mental health has a massive impact upon your rehabilitation. And I needed to be around people. I needed to see that other people were struggling. I needed to see that I wasn't alone. And when you're lying in a bedroom on your own, counting tiles and the space between tiles, and you have no internet service, so you cannot even gain it outside. Isolation for a woman. Men are easier at it, but for a women, we're part of a colony. We need to be with our sisterhood. We need to be around other females. If you isolate a female from her whole life and her whole existence, and from being able to gain access, because we like to talk, we talk through things, you will add to her depression, you'll add to her mental state. So my son doing that gave me that big butt whooping, and I started to fight. And I realized I've got 4 beautiful kids that I have a responsibility to. And just because you're paralyzed lying in a bed, it doesn't mean that you can quit on your job and your responsibility when you decided to bring these kids into the world. So grow up, Riona, stop feeling sorry for yourself and crack on with the rehab.
Great. Riona, thank you very much for sharing. I think I just want to point out a couple of things you mentioned actually. One is finding your purpose, and your purpose was your kids, who made you the Riona that you are now, because your bigger purpose, not just sitting there lying on the bed feeling sorry for yourself. You got 4 beautiful kids, and you wanted there for them. So finding your purpose has to be a very strong one. You mentioned about, situation is what we give the name to the situation. We can keep feeling sorry for ourselves, or we can get out there. You mentioned about toxic relationship, and lots of people talk about, oh, I've got 2 kids, I can't get out. But you should get out because you got 2 kids, because what are you teaching them, and you perfectly, mentioned like your kids are inspiration. It's no point, being in a marriage for sake of it. And I've worked with women who've been in 30, 40 years in marriage, struggling. Kids are grown up, all adult, they're still struggling, saying, what my kid's going to think? Well, what are you teaching your kids? So really important point, Riona, it's really important. You mentioned about that, that you have to, rise up. And, as a female and as a speaker, that's another way you can inspire other female, but also as an international speaker, you inspire others. So thank you for sharing your story, and thank you for sharing the journey, how you became who you are now. My next question would be for our audience who are stuck in the situation of, whatever they're in, whether that's a toxic relationship, harassment, or things that happen in the past, that people still living with the trauma of childhood experiences. What your top 5 tips would be for those people who can't think beyond their situation?
My first one would be, and I say this to everyone, I say this to all my clients who are going through a transition, and who the affirmations that they've been allowing people to speak to them, they've actually started to believe them. But there was a belief there in the first place. So I'll give you an example. If a woman's a bit overweight, I'm fat. Well, you just said it, I'm fat. So you will bring that into your conversations with friends, with family, with a partner, with a husband, I'm fat, with your kids. So when they turn around and say that to you, you don't say it in that way, you say it in a victimist way. And I don't mean any disrespect to anyone here. Oh, I'm fat. I feel really fat in this. I don't feel nice. I just feel ugly, right? If you have given that to the wrong person, if you have spoken that word to somebody who is not going to empower you, who's going to take those words and then save it in the bank to attack you, you can't blame them. And a lot of the time, he's just said, I'm fat. No, you said it first. Doesn't matter. Like, if you feel fat, the right man or the right partner would turn around 6 o'clock in the morning, babe, I'm going for a run. Come on. Well, we're going to go for a run. They would empower you to do something different. They would empower you to remove the weight if that's how you felt, because they say, I love you the way you are, but baby, if you don't feel comfortable in the way you are, then I'm going to be there to support you to be the best you can be. If you don't have someone like that, it's time to say sayonara. It's time to say goodbye. Or it's time as a woman, very important. Set the standard in your tone, in your truth, in who you are, to know what you deserve. And you don't ask God, why do you treat me like this way? Why do you say those nasty things? No, you say, excuse me, you will not treat me like this way. You will not say those things to me. I will not accept that. I love you. I want to be with you, but I will not continue down this path if you continue down that path, because I deserve better. And to get to that point, number 3, you have to know your value. And a lot of young children nowadays, in the society that we grow up with, parents who get together and then, you know what, 2-3 years down the line, the romance is gone, the honeymoon period is gone. No, it's called, now you've got to make an effort period. Now you have to keep to the promises that you made when you were courting period. Now it means that your word is your truth period. And people are so quick to give in every aspect of the life. I'm not just talking about relationships. I'm not just talking about in your private life. I'm talking about in your personal life. I'm talking about in corporate life. I'm talking about in visions, in dreams. People, when it doesn't happen like that, are quick to give up. Well, you need to go right back 100 years ago. You need to go 200 years ago. You need to go to the evolution of electricity. Do you think it happened in a year? No, it didn't. It took planning. It took failure. It took setbacks. It took moving forward. It took looking at it again, going back to the drawing board. Why is it not working? What do we do? Because the dream that you had, you don't quit on. And a lot of people quit on that dream because they haven't been taught their value. And if you can get someone like us women that are going to go in and go, right, here is your value. I know you don't believe it. I know you don't see it, but stay with me. Stay with me. Keep saying these positive affirmations. Number 5, positive affirmations are so good. I feel fat. And people go, oh Lord, why am I so fat? And then they go, but God's not answering me. No, because he never said you were fat. So why is he going to answer something that he never told you that you were? You are glorious the way you are. You are amazing the way you are. To get a woman, my biggest tip for women is, I want you to stand in front of the mirror and pretend that that person staring back at you is a woman that you love with all your heart, that you would fight for, that no one could get past you to get to her. And I want, if she was stood in front of you saying, I'm this, I'm this, and this, how you would speak back to her. All those affirmations. I am amazing. I am beautiful. I am strong. I am courageous. And you know what? A lot of women, when they start saying that, they can't even get the, they stutter. I say, amen for the stutter, because it means you're starting somewhere. Everyone's got to start somewhere. And I, as a coach, I do not expect people to be at my level. I meet them at the level that they're at. So if you're at 2% in your life, I will meet you at 2% and I'll raise you to 100. If you're at 50% in your life, I will meet you at 50% and I will stay with you until you are shining at 100, until you don't need me anymore, because the need inside of you to be greater, it's so powerful. It's so strong. And that's where every woman deserves to be on this planet. And I will not give up on my quest until every single woman knows their value, and that every single man is taught it by a true woman, because it takes it sometimes, unfortunately. The damage that mothers have gone through and the lack of what they've learned means that they're not able to teach their children their value as a man and as a woman. Why? Because they don't know it themselves. So it's us women it falls down to teach our sons, to teach our partners, to teach our business associates, to teach people randomly walking on the street. If you see somebody behaving inappropriately in a way that you go, oh, that's not right, don't just think it in your head. Have the grace and love and fortitude and to guide them out of your mouth, to speak that light and love, to be kind and gracious, and to leave that person better than when you saw them. And it doesn't bother me who that is. You could be someone at a supermarket, you could be someone in a petrol station, you could be someone on a bus. It doesn't matter. If I see that someone is not living their best life because their mouth is speaking death, I'm going to pull them up about it. And if they don't like it, then you need to learn to speak a different way.
Wow, Riona, that's a lot of things you shared. I'm speechless. Yeah, one point I want to point out was like you talked about value quite a lot. Finding our own values, believing in ourselves, focus on the value. And when you focus on our value, when you believe in ourselves, then we can teach our children. If we don't know what our value is, we can't teach our children. So absolutely, value is so important because that leads to the positive affirmation. And the other point you mentioned about how we see the word we say, things come out of our mouth, what we think. So even though, if we feel we don't look great, we say it and that continues, and then we become the victim because everybody else said. But is how we see ourselves is really important. Or look at the future, how you want to see yourself and live on that. Not, what you're thinking now, but live on that. So absolutely great point, Riona. There's a lot of nuggets I'm sure people will find very helpful. So thank you very much. But not just women, for men. What you talked about is for everyone, the courageous. So if you, we nearly kind of come to an end of our interview. I want to ask you, if you were to leave an important point or your thoughts, one thoughts with our audience, what would that be?
Oh my gosh, there are so many little golden nuggets that you could lead that I could say. But my one piece of advice that I would give, regardless of what you're facing, regardless of what you're going through, regardless of what you're going to go through, regardless of what you've been through, regardless of the baggage that you have not let go of yet, that is a little bit too painful to let go of, and the fear of letting go and what that's going to mean can sometimes be greater. And so you keep hold of it. My advice would be lead with love, real love, unrequited love. Love that has no boundaries, love that does not hold in a cage, love that doesn't judge, love that doesn't hate. Lead with love, because that love is so gracious. That love is so powerful. That love will heal. And when you lead with love, I have a saying, we rise by lifting others. When you become a true arm bearer of love, you can heal so many pains in yourself by helping other people heal. It is so valuable and it's so important. And a lot of people miss that golden nugget, that the first rule of life, you were loved before you were born. You were loved as a thought in existence. You were created in love. It doesn't matter whether it was a hanky-panky one-night stand. Whoever was doing it, they loved it. At that moment in time, love is the creation of all things. And when people can understand that they are the personification of love and they can live to that, you can transform not only your own life, but everyone else around you.
Thank you very much, Riona. Thank you for your great point. Absolutely. I think sometimes people forget about love, that, always looking after others, but what about yourself? If you don't look after yourself, who else going to look after? You can't look after everybody else. So it's always like really important. Great point. Love brings all the hatred down, bring peace. And if we have everyone loving each other, there will be no war. So thank you very much. Thank you for your time and thank you for your share. To everyone else, I'll be adding Riona's details as well. You can follow her on Instagram, LinkedIn. And thank you for with us, and please do share this video and like us as well, because you never know who could benefit from the video. So please share, like us, and you'll get alert for future videos. We'll be bringing you non-stop motivational videos to help you with your move forward with your life. So thank you very much. Thank you, Riona.
You are very welcome, and to your audience and yourself. Be blessed, stay blessed, and have a blessed life.
Thank you.